I've spent my entire life learning how to be a great chef. But many of you know I didn't go to culinary school. I worked in restaurants in real-life scenarios, learning real-life techniques and tricks. Now, many of these tricks are industry secrets, and you would never know them unless you've done them before. But the irony is that anyone can do them easily at home. So today I'm going to show you my 50 favorite food hacks that will ideally make your life easier, make you a better cook, and maybe make you look like you really know what you're doing. So let's get right into it. Let's say you're whisking something and it goes all over the place. A little trick. You take a towel, a longer one, you wrap it around the mixing bowl, you make a little knot, choop. Voila. Want to cut multiple tomatoes in one go? Put the plates on top of each other and just do it like that. Would you like to avoid eggshells in your batter, in your dish, or when you're going to bake, or avoid having it in your food? Have a look. No eggshells. If you're cutting soft foods like tomatoes, it's a very good idea to put your knife for a little moment in the freezer. It makes it easier to cut and it prevents sticking. You take it out and you cut your tomato. So much easier, so much better. And if that doesn't work, you just use the serrated tomato knife. Tired of peeling garlic, potatoes, onions and having to deal with all the mess? Just use a newspaper and instead of 5 minutes work, you just have a few seconds and you can throw it away. Want to peel an egg effortlessly? This is a trick, watch. You make a very small on the top and at the lower part, you see, just a little. Blow very, very hard on this piece and then you will see that the skin of this will come off. Just blow your mind out. Watch! Or maybe if you've got guests or visitors, you might have a different approach. This video took about 1 to 2 weeks to make. We really made an effort. So please leave a like, give a comment, or even subscribe. And comment your favorite food hack. Most of you guys will zest your lemon like this. But what I do, I go from top to bottom and you keep on turning your lemon and there, and you're ready. When you make mistakes and you have guests, don't let them know you made a mistake. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what your expectation is. So please just receive all the compliments and try to do it better next time. When making a cake, make sure everything is at room temperature. The eggs, take them out preferably an hour before using or even the day before, because it takes a while for the eggs to become at room temperature. That if you've got very soft butter and you have got very cold eggs, it won't emulsify together. When you are baking a cake and you don't want to use parchment paper or you don't have parchment paper, the way to do it then is just slightly grease with what you do then is you put some flour in, you dust it with flour, and as you can see it will stick to the sides, and then you tap all the flour so it is coated with flour. You just do this and you will have a perfect coating. Using flour to get rid of flour. How do we do that? I made a pizza dough and it's gluing to my hands, and now my son will put some flour, who's also my director. Yeah, and then you do very, very rough, aggressive. Put a lot of weight on it. Oops, okay. And as you can see, almost everything gone. And now I can wash it. Want to remove a skin of a tomato, just score an egg in it, put it in your boiling water for 30 seconds. Easy peasy, a beautiful unskinned tomato. Using nuts and seeds, toast them beforehand. It deepens the flavor of the nuts, especially when you use them in salads, in baking, and it also kills off all the germs. What you also can do is you put your nuts in the oven instead of in a pan. That way, if you forget it for a minute, and always put an alarm on, it will not be burned and it will bake evenly. When weighing your ingredients, be precise, because baking is chemistry. So you can't say and alter your recipe. Sometimes you can make a little bit less sweet, but it is a chemistry. It works together as a whole. However, in cooking, you can be a little bit more creative. And that's why they say you are a baking person or you are a person who likes to cook. You have to stop putting your toasty or your grilled cheese sandwich on a plate, because this way the steam won't be able to escape. Leaving your plate and your supposed to be crispy grilled cheese sandwich wet. To fix this, place 2 forks underneath the toasty to let the steam escape. And when you take the toasty out of the pan, place it right there. If you're setting the table, just do it a few hours before, or maybe even, if possible, the day before. People will feel so welcome when they enter your house, and they will feel extra special. When cutting, I always use very big chef's knives instead of this little small one. You might think it's more dangerous because it's big, but it's not, because the more sharp it is, the more grip it will have on your leek, on your onion, tomatoes. So don't be intimidated by the size of it. Use a damp towel under your cutting board. This way it won't go anywhere, as you can see. This is how chefs work. It is fast and it is safe. Smash garlic cloves with the side of your knife. To peel it, the garlic instantly, crush it with the side of your knife. The skin falls right off. Salt your water like the sea when you are cooking potatoes, veggies or pasta. Pasta is even more important. By really salting your water, that's the only way to season your vegetables and pasta from within. Twist pasta beautifully on a plate like a pro. It creates a clean and fancy looking spiral. Sprinkle your salt from a height, which is a really beautiful even way spreading your salt. Use the end of a loaf, or you might have a little stale bread left for breadcrumbs, or you can make beautiful croutons with them, nice on salads and on soups. I'm going to show you how to make a cornet. A cornet is something they use piping when you, for example, have a beautiful tarte au citron, chocolate, caramel, frosting, runny frosting. Yeah. There it is. And then you fold this in. You fold that in. You put your melted chocolate in here. You just cut off a little piece. Depends, of course, how fat you want the lettuce to be. So start with a small one, just of parchment paper. I'm going to show you how to make a cartouche. This is very handy when you, for example, don't have a lid. But most important it is that not all your liquid will evaporate or will spatter everywhere. So what you do is you fold it again, and then you keep folding it halfway. So you take a pan. You have a pan and you want to make the cartouche. You look for the center. You cut it over here, and you cut a little piece of the middle, and then you have this beautiful fitting cartouche. Keep your knives out of the dishwasher. Want to kill off your knives? Put them in the dishwasher. Otherwise, they will become dull. You have to keep on sharpening them. So don't. Use salt to bring out the flavor. Even if making cakes, cookies, just a little bit of salt, and it elevates the sweetness. Or just a little squeeze of lemon juice or a little bit of vinegar. It balances the sweetness Leftover Parmesan rind, don't throw it away, because this will give your soups, sauces, a beautiful umami flavor you didn't know you missed. Please try. And don't forget to take it out before you're serving. Peel a banana like a pro. Just squeeze in the middle and you can feel it divides in two, and there it is. It is cleaner and it is faster. If you want a smoother texture of your tomato sauce or your tomato soup, just pre-blend them before you use them. It needs to be cold, and what is also a plus is that you won't have to blend them when it's hot, because you've got all these red butters. Freeze fresh herbs in the freezer in these ice cubes with a little bit of olive oil, and this is for future dishes, so they won't go to waste. And what you do is just you put them in here. This is thyme, and then you will put it in the freezer, and every time you need something you flip one ice cube out of its container. Doesn't this look satisfying? And just put your herbs in so they're really covered by oil. And you also have these ice cube with lids on it. Just put some lids on it so the damp in the freezer can't get to your herbs. Want to peel a ginger? Just use a spoon. It's so much easier, so much more convenient. When cutting onions, you want to avoid tears. This is what you do. You just put them in the fridge, a couple of minutes. It releases less sulfur. You won't have to cry. So that's a good thing. When in need of juice and zest, make sure you first zest lemons, because otherwise, or an orange or a lime, the moment you halve them, it is almost impossible to get the zest off. In need of crispy bacon, just put it in an oven on 200 Celsius and it will take 15 to 20 minutes and you will have a beautiful crispy bacon. Here they are. More crispy than this you won't get. Beautiful in salads or on top of your hack. Stock herbs to chop faster. This is flat parsley. More efficient and faster. Treat herb like fresh flowers. Just put them in a glass of water with the stems in it and the leaves not in the water. Put a plastic bag over it, put it in the fridge. It will be fresh for a lot longer. When hosting a party, try to use recipes which are doable or which you have tried before, or even make them the day before. Try a recipe you could do in advance, so you might be able to enjoy the party yourself, but not unimportant. Butter your bread before you make a toasty grilled cheese sandwich. Do it on the outside. That will give that beautiful golden look you get in a restaurant. When you make it yourself, it's even better. Using nuts. Bake them before. This is why a homemade pasta season as you go, not just at the end. The seasoning will add layers of flavor. Instead of chopping your soft herbs with a knife, use a pair of scissors. You can do it just above your dish you're baking, cooking. This is wild garlic, by the way. You have more control and you have less mess. How convenient! How to make lemon sugar. You put everything in this bowl is not as small as I want it, but you just put all your zest, and always remember, just put the yellow part, not this white part, but the yellow part. I'm going to put sugar on it, and this is fantastic when you're making cakes, cookies, and after a few hours it is ready to be used in anything you wish for, and it will last a long time because of the sugar in the fridge. Avoid making recipes with ingredients which you genuinely don't like. For example, if you make a recipe with broccoli and you really dislike broccoli, the recipe won't work as a miracle worker. Always use proper salt, freshly milled black pepper, beautiful spices which are best before date, and always use beautiful fresh herbs. And all these fresh things, it makes the world of a difference in enhancing the flavors. Want to boil eggs perfectly every time. Just watch. For soft boiled eggs, you just cook the water until it boils. You put your eggs in and you wait for the water to boil again. And then after 5 minutes, your eggs are soft. So you take them out immediately and you put them on the cold running water. That's the way to stop the cooking process. But if you want a very hard egg, you just boil them for 10 minutes. And just in between these, there might be the stage you want your egg to be in, but you have to try. If you want a soft egg but not too soft, you just first try 7 minutes. And this is really a great way to cook your eggs. Start every shift with an organized mise en place to have everything ready before you start cooking or whatever dish you're making. And this is for a pesto, so I have all the things ready. I will put it in here, and when it's ready I'll put it in here, and here I've got the knife and the board, so nothing can go wrong. A clean and prepared space sets the foundation and efficient surface. When baking a savory pie or a sweet pie, make sure your oven is preheated. And what is very important, that the baking tray is hot. So the baking tray is in the oven and the form, what you're baking, goes on top of that. So the bottom of your pie will be able to become cooked, crispy. But in contrary to baking sweet pies, savory pies, when you're making cookies, make sure your baking tray is cold. You do preheat the oven, but you take the baking tray out on which you will put your cookies. Because if the baking tray is hot when you put your cookies on, the butter already will react to this warm environment before it has cooked through with all the other ingredients. Blind baking is the process of pre-baking your pastry shell, your pie crust, without a filling in it.